the fade in your eyes. I'm lost in space, floating away.
All right, you guys, so as Roads Untraveled kind of continues to evolve, so to speak, and go through its paces as a YouTube channel, we eventually will get to all of the classic Japanese sports cars. Now, I know you're looking at me being like, classic, Marcus, you were born like right around the time as these cars, and you'd be right about that. But these cars are approaching 25 years or older, which essentially makes them a classic. So here we are in a Mitsubishi GTO, or 3000 GT as they were called here in North America. Up here in Canada, very rare, even down in the States, equally as rare. Obviously all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering. I mean, for the time, it's a GT car. It's got all the technology you could possibly want out of a car like this. From what I can tell so far, it's very comfortable. We are in stock seats, which I'm fairly thankful for, honestly, because it's not very often I get to actually experience a car from the 90s in bone stock form. And as the years pass, it's going to be tougher and tougher to get your hands on a completely stock and unmolested 3000 GT. Don't know much about the car. The basics are it's got a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 transverse mounted up front. They come online, and when they come online, you're gone. Torque comes on very low in the power band, which is exactly what you want in a car like this. Very similar to a 300ZX, although this is transverse mounted, obviously. All-wheel drive all the time. It's pretty comfortable, you know? A lot of sports cars, even in stock form, are really stiff. My MR2 in stock form is definitely a little bit stiffer than this, although here's the difference. This car feels planted. When you stick it into a corner, you're gonna get a little bit of body roll. It's a 25-year-old car, but surprising is the word I think I would use for sure. So the one we're driving currently is, for the most part, pretty stock. It's got a few modifications. It's running basically stock boost. It does have an exhaust system, which sounds great. It's got I think it's an HKS blow-off valve, if I'm correct. And it sounds phenomenal. Obviously, with turbos that spool up very quickly and a blow-off valve, you're gonna get blow-off on even the slightest of pulls. Steering has great weight to it. Awesome weight. I know I commented on the WRX we drove recently, STI. That car has a little bit too light of steering for my liking, but here this GTO it's great. So having twin turbos on a 3-liter V6 is a fantastic thing, because for 90s Japanese cars, a 3-liter engine was kind of to the higher end of, the 2JZ and the Supra was a 3-liter twin turbo engine, right? So a lot of these Japanese cars were kind of putting out the same displacement, a bunch of turbos, and just kind of cranking up the boost. Wow, this car's really big. It's really wide. Now this car is definitely a little bit heavier than a lot of people would like. It's about 3,700 pounds. For having all the tech it did at the time, for having about 320 horsepower, you can definitely feel the weight. The weight is definitely a little bit more pronounced in this car, but it's not what you would expect. The steering it's nicely weighted, it's fairly direct. It's not as direct as some cars, but then again, this steering wheel is a little bit smaller, so it's even helping it there. Clutch feel is great. For a stock clutch, it's nice and heavy. I like a heavy clutch, but for daily driving, it's definitely not unbearable. But one little minor gripe about the car, the shifter throws are a little bit long. It's like you really gotta muscle it in, which in some sense kind of makes it fun, right? The cockpit of the car is similar to it's similar to a Supra. It's got kind of the same characteristics. Everything's kind of angled towards the driver. And being JDM for me, it's different too from left-hand drive, right? So it kind of accentuates that even more, which is very nice. And torque just pulls you out of the corner. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's great. You know what? Okay, so RPM redline is at about 7,200 RPM, and you can rev it there if you want. But the torque makes the car feel fast right off the get-go. And to have fun, you really don't need to wind it out to 7,000. You can, and if you want to, go right ahead, and you can have so much fun rolling through the gears. But the gears are super long, so you can just do like a second gear pull and pull yourself out of a corner with plenty enough torque. It's awesome. Your average commuter, 320 horsepower, is plenty for any kind of city driving or commuting, or even a tight road like this. It's plenty. It feels very fast. And the thing is, you gotta think of the context of where this car is coming from. 25 years old. This thing was pushing out more power than a stock WRX is putting out in 2016, all right? Among other cars. I mean, you look at an FRS, 200 horsepower. It's got 120 more horsepower than that, right? I mean, this thing must have been mind-blowing, not only in terms of power at the time, but in terms of technology as well. I mean, it's got four-wheel steering. It's got all-wheel drive. It's got active aero. In a Japanese sports car from the 90s, active aero. That to me is so cool. I've driven a couple cars with active aero. Even with an aftermarket exhaust, it's loud, but you can really tell this is a GT car. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Even with an aftermarket exhaust that from the outside sounds really mean, really aggressive. You get some nice pops and stuff and crackles. It's got a nice, deep, aggressive growl to it. But then on the inside here, it's nice and bassy still, but it's very quiet, which is, I mean, it's kind of nice in a GT car like this. What you really do hear, though, is a rush of air from the intake. You hear the blow-off valve, and you feel the turbo spool up. Even at 10 pounds of boost right now, the torque is phenomenal. That extra displacement in comparison to some of these smaller four-cylinder engines you get in like an STI or an Evo, really great. It really goes a long way, especially on a tight road like this. 3,500 RPM, and it's instant. Super fun. All right, you guys, so hope you enjoyed this video of a 3000 GT or Mitsubishi GTO, as it was called. It's a Mitsubishi GTO, let's face it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've had a ton of fun driving this car. It's similar to a 300ZX in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's very different. The all-wheel drive definitely feels different. You can power out of a corner instantly. The torque comes on really great, even though it doesn't have sequentials, right? It doesn't have a smaller turbo for the lower RPMs. It's just all the boost all the time. So much fun. Remember, we've got new videos every single Tuesday and Thursday. Remember to listen to our podcast every Wednesday on iTunes. Head on over to roadsandtravel.com and you can see all our latest photos, bonus content, all our content's up there as well. Leave a like, leave a comment down below if you like this car. I think it's a great classic Japanese sports car, and we'll see you guys next time. What's up? Today we are in front of this absolutely stunning Aston Martin Vanquish, which was built as a tribute to the Aston Martin from Die Another Day and to 007. My name's Marcus, and you're watching Roads Untraveled.